Hello Year 9, today we're going to be doing a Scamper exercise. A Scamper exercise is where we modify, develop and change a design based on certain inputs. We're going to be looking at designing the speaker cover. So that is the part of your design where the speaker sits behind. You can see on this one here, the speaker is sat behind here. And this is where the sound is going to come through. So we're designing these holes that are going to come out. We can design other bits for decoration at a later stage, but today we're just concentrating on this bit here. Now, you'll see straight away that there are 3 screws in here, and they match up with the 3 nuts on the back that holds this supporting plate in, which holds the speaker in place. These have got to stay in our design because they're really important. So you can see on my page, I've already started with a rectangle to represent this rectangle here and those 3 holes. That's where I'm starting. That's what I know for definite. And what we're going to do in this activity is come up with something quite random, similar to this, that's going to be very unique. I've got another example to show you here. Again, the 3 holes and then something quite random. So, how are we going to do this? Well, we're going to pick a shape to work with. And I'm going to keep it simple to start with. I'm going to work with a circle. And I'm just going to draw a circle. For this activity, by the way, you will need a nice sharp pencil and you will probably need a rubber. And we're going to go straight over to this first option up here. Scale and proportion. What we're doing in here is we're just going to draw circles of different sizes and different proportions. And what we mean by size is quite obvious. We're just going to draw a big circle, small circle, maybe something in between. And this just gives us an idea of the sizes that we can work with. But proportion is when we sort of stretch things or shrink things and change things. So I could do sort of more of an oval or an egg shape. I've just stretched the circle a little bit. It still was a circle, but now it's something a little bit different. And I'm playing around with proportion here as well. I'm squishing bits of it. I'm just playing around with different options. You can do this with any shape you want. I want you to pick one shape to work with. So I'm working with a circle, but you can do this with any shape you want. I would like you to keep it a geometric shape, so stick with a standard shape, but the freedom of what you choose there is yours. So I'm just playing around with different ideas. What have I got to work with? So you can see they're getting quite random now, quite splodgy. I'm trying to fill this space. I want to really go up to it and really reach the edge. And I'm going to leave it there. I'll let you do a little bit more. You can see that mine's actually going off the screen. So the next thing to do is to start adding things or duplicating things. And this is where we can start combining. So we want to make some shapes out of this really, because it's going to be going in here. So let's make some shapes out of this. Let's do it by taking some of these shapes and adding them together, or adding bits to them. So I might take that shape and add them together. And if I do that here, I've got sort of more of an flattened egg shape here. If I add that coming off at an angle, and then I can rub out the bits in between, I've created a new shape. And you might like this, you might dislike it. You might say, you know what, I'm going to start adding other bits to it. Okay, so let's add another one of them going off in the other direction. And now let's start adding another one going off the bottom. And this is completely unplanned. I'm just sort of playing around with different ideas here. And it's got that sort of almost propeller feel to it. Okay, there's one option. Let's try something different. Let's try a small circle being added to a slightly larger circle, being added to a larger circle, being added to a weird oval circle. Again, there's no formula I'm following here other than I'm just adding bits together. And this is a technique called shape welding. We actually weld the shapes together and we end up with a new shape. And I'm just going to go over this again now I've rubbed out the bits on the inside. A, it makes it a little bit more defined, and B, makes it easier to see. So I'm going to do the same technique here. I'm just going to go over it again. I'm just being nice and gentle. I'm feathering my lines, which is not something we normally do in DT, but it's more of a sketching technique just to show that emphasis. So these are just some things I'm adding together to make, and there's no right or wrong in this. It's just combining shapes for fun of it. Again, I want you to feel this section. I want you to feel that area. Now, you've also got a raise up here, and it could be that you've made something over here. You can take it over here and erase bits of it. So I might go, if I take my rather peculiar propeller design, and I'm flipping it up on its head now for no reason other than I drew it a different way around. I'm redrawing it. Again, each time I redraw it, it's a little bit different. Okay, that's fine. And I might take away that chunk there. And to do that, I'd rub out that line. And now when I've taken bits away from it, and now it's a different design again. I could decide to take an oval out of the middle. I could decide to take a chunk off of here. And now I'm looking at a very different design. All because I just started taking chunks off. And I've taken circular bites out of it. You could do anything. It really does modify and change your design. Duplicate is where we start adding duplicates of ourselves together, or our parts together. And for that, I can take this design and I can duplicate certain parts of it. So it could be that I duplicate itself in a pattern around itself, redraw it in a circle. It could be that I spin it, and you can see that I've already technically done a duplication here. But it could be that I duplicate other parts of it. So I might like this bit here, but I want to duplicate that in a different way. So let's redraw that now. And you could do this, if you don't like what you've done up here, if you don't like that erase, fine, leave it there. Let's go back to the original down here. If you like the erase, bring it down with you. Yeah? It's all about what works and what doesn't work. Now I like this curved bit on these arms here, but I'm gonna take off, I don't want these bits on here. So I'm only doing those bits. Redraw it properly, there we go. And take your time. Now my scale and proportion's gone a bit off on that. That's probably down to my artistic skill and my accuracy. That doesn't matter. The idea's still there. I'm going to keep that bit in there. So now what do I duplicate? Well, I might decide to duplicate just these arms. And so I could duplicate the arms and create almost a pattern behind them. So this could be the center point, and I could pattern the arms back like that. I might decide to duplicate certain parts of the curve, so I might have this bit here echoing out. There's no hard and fast, this is what you must do. It's a lot of experimentation tools. All of this is about experimentation. The final bit is combining your final design. And here, you take all the best bits. And remember that, like I've done up here, this area should be filled. So down here, all this space should be filled up. All this space should be filled up. Not just one design, multiple designs. 4 or 5 at least. Lots of experimentation. So for those of you that want high marks in this, those of you that want to get a good grade, and those of you that are interested in taking DT next year, I want to see lots of experimentation before you get to this final stage. The final stage is where you combine them together. And this is where we come back to our original. So we can redraw our original, we can do a rough sketch. We know we're going to have 3 holes. Let's have a look then. I've got my outside shape, I've got my 3 holes for my screws. What am I going to add into this? Well, I'm going to go back and add the bits that I like. So I'm going to having in this orientation, because of the screw holes, I'm going to have that circle in the middle shape. I'm going to have the bit coming off the top like that and coming out this way. I'm going to be taking certain bits of it out. I'm going to take these 2 bits here out, but not the others. So I'm going to start redrawing this in a bit more detail. And I decided I didn't like this, but I liked this. And I thought that could be a nice little echoey shape. And I have to work around that hole there. So I like the idea of it bouncing between these curves. Almost, to me, that looks almost like the sound waves coming out from the speaker. And that's the sort of thing I've gone for here. That's the sort of thing I like. But there is no hard and fast, this is what you must do. Just stick with what feels natural to you. So play around with it, have some fun. I want to see lots of experimentation. I want to see lots of variety and range. I've done all this in less than 15 minutes. And if you was to produce this to me, I'd be quite happy if it was this quality. I wouldn't be over the moon, but I'd be quite happy. If you could produce this to me with a lot more detail, I would be very happy. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for each of these segments around here to be filled in completely. And I'd like to see something nice and detailed here, nice and clear. Now I've done my work on A3. I will attach the PowerPoint for this, or I'll do it on PDF for you, so that you've got this sheet here. If you don't have A3 paper, you can do 2 A4 bits of paper put together. You can just draw this out yourself. I don't mind. You haven't got to print anything out. You can do this all on bits of paper. Doesn't matter to me how you do it, as long as you do it. You could just do it in sections of the bit of paper. I don't mind, as long as I can see all the experimentation leading to that final design idea. Okay, Year 9, good luck.